Catherine Deneuve has been a household name for decades. Her allure, mystique, and enduring beauty have long been emblematic of her. But now, at the age of 81, her metamorphosis is just breathtaking. Her chilly charm and indisputable presence enchanted the world when she was the pinnacle of French cinema. Though most celebrities lose their luster with the passage of time, Deneuve manages to keep her audience's attention. Like so few others, how has she managed to stay young? How did she manage to exude such enduring charisma and make such daring decisions in life? Resilience and innovation have been constants in Deneuve's life, as she has overcome controversies, personal tragedies, and the constraints of cinema. However, how does she appear now? Where has her life gone from here? If we want to know her now, we have to start at the beginning. Having a family wasn't enough for Catherine Deneuve. Cinema and storytelling were her parents' lives from the day she was born. On October 22, 1943, in Paris, France, she came into this world as Catherine Fabienne Dorlec. As a child, Catherine Deneuve lived in a world where the spotlight was always on her. Renée Simoneau was a stage actress who became famous for French dubbing of Hollywood stars, and her father, Maurice Dorlec, was an actor and voice actor. Stories were a way of life in their house, where classic movie dialogue resounded in the background and imagination ran wild. Nevertheless, little Catherine never aspired to star in a film, even though she lived in an environment filled with cinema. She aspired to be an archaeologist or interior designer because she was captivated by aesthetics and design. Quiet creative expression appealed to her more than the unexpected mayhem of Hollywood, and the prospect of repairing and uncovering buried histories was appealing to her. Unfortunately, destiny had different intentions. Rather than following her own ambitions, Catherine followed in the footsteps of her illustrious acting family. Françoise Dorlec, her older sister, was bursting at the seams as a leading lady, self-assured, magnetic, and completely at ease in the spotlight. She encouraged her younger sister to consider acting as more than simply a family legacy, and she became Catherine's biggest influence. Catherine tried it with some reluctance. She received her first minor role in 1957's Les Colleges Genres at the tender age of 13. Unfortunately, no amount of preparation for the disaster that befell her in 1967 could have saved her. Françoise was tragically died in an automobile accident near Nice, France, when she was only 25 years old. It was an intolerable loss. After her heart broke, Catherine felt a void that would never be filled. For a long time, the sisters hadn't been apart. Catherine felt like she was going to collapse under the weight of her sorrow without Françoise. However, she refused to step away from the limelight and instead continued further, resolute in her mission to carry on her sister's work. The performing arts were now more than a hobby. She found her calling in it. Catherine had a tough time growing up. She was untrained in the theater, unlike most of her contemporaries. She was criticized for being overly reserved and distant in her performances. She was cast in unremarkable parts in low-budget films and frequently ignored by filmmakers who preferred women with more emotional performances. Nevertheless, she exhibited remarkable patience. She sat back, took notes, and anticipated the day when everything would shift. She had not yet found her niche in the business when the 1960s began, filling small parts that went unnoticed. Many questioned her ability to develop into a genuine leading lady, despite her classic movie star looks. After that, in 1964, a sea change occurred. For the Umbrellas of Cherbourg, director Jacques Demy sought the ideal actress to portray Genevieve. Featuring a unique blend of vibrant colors and genuine passion, the film was a musical in which every line was sung. It may have been groundbreaking or utterly unsuccessful. Catherine hesitatingly approached Demy. To her knowledge, she was not a vocalist. She was frightened at the prospect of singing every line in a film. She was so sure she wasn't qualified for the part that she almost declined. However, Demy noticed an understated energy and presence about her that could be felt without flashy displays. Demy reassured her that her vocal abilities weren't her strongest suit, but that her expressive eyes and face were. Not even her quiets. In response to that nudge, Catherine jumped into a position that would shape her early career. The Umbrellas of Cherbourg caused quite a stir when it made its world premiere at the 1964 Cannes Film Festival. Suddenly, Catherine Deneuve's name was known all over the globe after the film won the Palme d'Or. She brought a subtle sadness to Genevieve, and the audience was enthralled by her performance and her stunning blonde beauty, likening her to legendary actors from yesteryear. France wasn't the only country that paid attention, either. A nomination for Best Foreign Language Film at the Academy Awards proved Demi's vision was revolutionary, and the film went on to become a phenomenon around the world. This ethereal blonde piqued Hollywood's interest. Filmmakers from Europe were lining up to cast her. After what seemed like an eternity, Catherine Deneuve was catapulted from the status of struggling actress to star. Elegance, mystique, and indestructibility summed up her French refinement. A person who paid attention was Yves Saint Laurent. She was a walking masterpiece, and the famed designer saw her as his ideal inspiration. Although Cherbourg's umbrellas elevated her to icon status, they also raised expectations. She had already shown that she could control the screen, now everyone was waiting for her next move. Along with difficulties she hadn't anticipated. Catherine Deneuve's life outside of acting was as eventful as her on-screen persona. A crush for Roger Vadim developed in her adolescence. He was more experienced, self-assured, and utterly absorbed in the cinematic universe. They coexisted during an era when such decisions were considered scandalous, but Catherine chose to disregard the nitpicking. Roger asked her to be his wife multiple times, but she turned him down each time. Marriage was merely a ritual that she felt she could do without. They had a son together, but their differences became too great, and they eventually broke up. Although others may have viewed the separation as a crisis, Catherine chose to move on without a problem. She wed David Bailey, a photographer known for his daring and outspoken style who was successful in the glamorous world of high fashion. Afterward, they wed hastily with Mick Jagger serving as best man, but their union was short-lived. Catherine once made light of the experience by saying that learning English was its greatest benefit. Catherine Deneuve adored trying new things. However, she was free to disregard societal norms and legal documents as she saw fit. Marcello Mastroianni, an Italian actor with an irresistible cinematic presence, was frequently associated with her most intense romance. They had a passionate romance from the beginning. They crossed paths on set, but their bond extended far beyond the set. One issue remained, though. It was already Marcello's marriage. Catherine refused to allow rumors dictate her actions as the world looked on and passed judgment. Chiara, their daughter, was born to her, as she embraced parenting with her own unique style. But she nevertheless turned down the proposal of marriage, reasoning that she and her lover's love were already deeply committed to one another. Speculation swirled around her career, particularly when she collaborated with A-list male actors. Rumors circulated regarding relationships with Burt Reynolds, Clint Eastwood, and Alain Delon. Mr. Tom. An actress who could convey raw emotions on television without letting them seep into her personal life, she remained a mystery to some. Let people believe what they wished about her because she rarely explained herself. One thing stayed the same throughout all her relationships. Freedom was the most important thing to Catherine. She had profound affection, but she defined it in her own manner. She dictated the terms and duration of her relationships with everyone from directors and photographers to international stars. This only served to heighten her allure for many. Love should never feel like a prison, she said once, and she refused to be confined by labels. Because of the way she viewed the world, the public saw her as one of the few celebrities who bravely dealt with the pressures of fame and love. Catherine Deneuve has always stood firm in her decisions. She defied the norm in a society that frequently attempts to divide women into rigid gender stereotypes. She was open to love, but she shied away from the conventional route of marriage and a lifetime of commitment because she valued her autonomy too much. She was criticized for being defiant. Nevertheless, Catherine possessed more than meets the eye. She could also box. She fearlessly embraced controversy. While abortion was still illegal in France in 1971, she stunned many by signing the Manifesto of the 343, a daring public declaration in which women confessed to having illegal abortions. She took a position by putting her name, crossing a line that could lead to criticism or possibly legal issues. It is only fair that women be able to decide what happens to their bodies. She made the bold move that may have ended her career without hesitation. She was engulfed in yet another inferno many years later. As the #MeToo movement gathered steam, Catherine spoke out against its tactics. The feminist movement had her support, but she was concerned that it was unfairly shaming some people without providing sufficient evidence. There was uproar over her remarks. Some thought she was endorsing bad conduct. However, Catherine remained steadfast, as she consistently had, rather than delivering the expected apologies. She reaffirmed her position, urging transparency and equity. Her detractors, meanwhile, would not even consider giving her a second chance. Catherine Deneuve remained unwavering in her determination. She was just as vocal as before. Her defiant nature went beyond matters pertaining to women. Due to the magazine's unauthorized use of her name, she found herself embroiled in a legal conflict. Catherine believed that no one had the authority to use her likeness or name for commercial gain, she alone owned them. She went to court and succeeded in getting the magazine to change the name. It conveyed its meaning clearly. Unauthorized individuals would not be able to benefit from her bequest. She defied Hollywood's expectations by staying true to herself despite her apparent star power. She rejected screenplays that she thought were insensitive to her culture or were too superficial. She was at home in French movies. And she had zero desire to conform to the American system, which frequently required a specific type of celebrity status. On the contrary, she stuck in the French film industry and took on projects that suited her creative vision. She became known as an actress who refused to compromise, but it cost her big Hollywood chances. Similar bravery to that which she exhibited by signing the Manifesto of the 343 has characterized Catherine Deneuve's life. No matter how much or how little praise she received, she remained unfaltering. Throughout her fights, she spoke with an unwavering determination that few celebrities muster. What truly sets Catherine Deneuve apart is the fact that she has never once apologized for her ideas. She disproved preconceptions in the entertainment industry and beyond by demonstrating that a powerful, assertive, and stunning woman could be in the limelight. Those who wanted her to hide her true nature from the world never got her to bend over backwards. Her fearless treatment of political and social concerns had an indelible impression on Hollywood, proving that one need not compromise their principles for professional success. Catherine came up, frequently taking a lot of heat, during a time when many celebrities did the opposite to safeguard their careers. Still, she never compromised her principles in order to fit in or feel secure. Even with all her power, the passage of time was starting to wear her down. Let me explain. Catherine's struggles were both public and intimate. For many years, she battled an addiction to cigarettes, which she eventually kicked after smoking as much as 3 packs per day. She began at an early age, and the pressure of being the center of attention exacerbated her condition. The notion of her silently accompanying herself on film shoots with a cigarette was effortlessly cool to some. Concerned about the impact on her health, her loved ones were understandably frightened. These dangers were not unknown to her. Patches, hypnosis, and the encouragement of friends weren't enough to keep her from lighting up again after her numerous failed attempts. She was able to abstain for a while in the mid-1980s, but she relapsed due to personal life stresses. Many were rooting for her to overcome her addiction after seeing her struggle. The year 2019 was the turning point. Unfortunately, Catherine had a stroke while filming. Doctors at the hospital urged her to make significant changes to her way of life after her rapid arrival. She was deeply shaken by the incident. She stopped working and devoted herself fully to becoming well. Understanding, maybe for the very first time, how precarious existence is. With the support of those who loved her, she fought the battle of her life. Catherine Deneuve gradually recovered her strength with the help of physical therapy and a rigorous regimen. A lot of people thought she was going to retire from acting altogether, but she had other intentions. She shrugged off a health scare and quietly mounted a strong recovery. She had changed her perspective. At this point in her career, she was more deliberate than before. By linking her passion for films to her health, she finally kicked the habit of smoking and stopped accepting roles for the sake of her career. She insisted that every undertaking be meaningful. Skeptics took note of the shift. She brought a fresh perspective to her performances, molded by the hardships she had endured. She brought her own story of overcoming adversity to the role she played, transcending her previous role as an actress. After everything that has happened to Catherine, she has shown that it is possible to get back up, stronger, and wiser than before. Her career took off in the early 90s. She revealed a new aspect to her acting in the 1992 historical drama Indochine, in which she gave a performance that was both powerful and unexpected. She was unfazed by her celebrity status. Catherine refused to leave French cinema, which she loved for its storylines that questioned norms and delved into human complexity, even when Hollywood offered her big-budget roles. Her portrayal of Elaine in Indochine 1992 highlighted this point perfectly. She gave a career-defining performance as a French plantation owner in colonial Vietnam, combining her usual grace with an intensely human portrayal. With the popularity of the film, she was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Actress, an honor that very few French performers had ever received. Despite the fact that she lost, she was already firmly established in cinematic history, but the nomination was the icing on the cake. Catherine wasn't only a movie star, she became a national icon for France. She held the position of Marianne, the French Republic's national emblem, from 1985 to 1989. This honor is bestowed upon women who exemplify liberty and respect. There was more to her than that. Her self-assurance, independence, and classic good looks made her an icon of French pride. She maintained her icon status in the fashion industry with the same carefree elegance. She wore Yves Saint Laurent's designs on and off film for a long time, serving as a muse to the fashion house. They worked together on more than just clothes. It was an assertion, a glorification of French refinement. The fact that she collaborated with fashion houses like Chanel and Louis Vuitton is proof that genuine glitz will always be in vogue. Catherine maintained her artistic origins throughout her meteoric rise to popularity. She collaborated with new filmmakers who recognized her quiet strength and frequently cast her in roles that challenged audiences to think critically rather than in commercial blockbusters. Her presence was palpable in both classic and modern films. Viewers felt as though they were witnessing more than just a character, they were witnessing a living icon. Her likeness continued to pop up in advertising campaigns, on magazine covers, and in movie posters for decades. Still, she never wavered from her authentic self. Unfalteringly, Catherine Deneuve, never one to follow the crowd or conform. Still, she'll play parts, but only if they're interesting to her. She chooses assignments based on her aesthetic sensibilities now that she doesn't feel the need to prove anything. Catherine is still highly regarded, even though the profession is always changing. Her reputation is strong enough that she doesn't need to reinvent herself all the time. The fast-paced world of filmmaking may have drew her away, but she was never truly absent from the screen. To delve into the complexities of aging, identity, and legacy, she has lately favored character-driven, intimate films. Her current performances are the culmination of a lifetime of work, which has further enhanced her extraordinary career. Outside of the performing world, her impact is felt. She sometimes makes remarks that cause a stir, but she never stops fighting for social justice and creative freedom. Being authentic, she has no need for validation. Whether or not others agree with her, she always says what's on her mind. Catherine Deneuve is just as mesmerizing now as she was when she was 81 years old. She exemplifies a timeless grace that defies fads and expectations, whether she's at a private fashion event, in a hand-picked film, or just relaxing in the French countryside. Catherine Deneuve's career has always extended beyond the stage. She embodies strength, grace, and autonomy. Her path has never been predictable, yet she continues to captivate with each passing moment. She shies away from the limelight, yet it finds her nonetheless, captivated by the aura of mystique and understated power that has always characterized her. With the same poise and confidence that built her great career, she walks through this chapter of her life. Whether in the hustle and bustle of Hollywood or the peace of the French countryside, she is the same strong, independent woman she always was, a woman who is loved profoundly and never hid who she is. Catherine Deneuve is more than simply a legendary actress, she is 81 years old. Her enduring influence proves that genuine idols do not go out of style.